Hello and welcome to the second part of this baby mommy video. I don't know why I think I will need to find another name for it because I am already recording a second version and it has the same exact title. It's always like the mom hugging the baby. So anyhow, we are starting by wetting the baby's face with Escoda brush size, Escoda Perla size 10 brush, and basically just paint with water the whole area of the hair and the face of the baby. And if you look at the background now, you can see what I meant in the first portion of this tutorial when I said that the air is not going to be, the background is not going to be one seamless color, but it's rather going to be looking like there is something in the air, like different shades of, soft colors. And I think it's so much more beautiful than just painting one shade or one color, the whole background. So I'm going around the edge of the hair carefully, adding more and more water. And actually the more time you spend, as I said before, the more time you spend watering the surface that you're going to paint on, the more time you will have to paint wet on wet, which is like, I think 70% of my videos anyway. So just keep on wetting. And what I'm doing now is mixing yellow ochre and quinacridone coral. So the same shade that I used for the mom's face. Not the same shade, but the same two colors mixed. So whenever you're mixing colors, the thing that you need to know is that there is never going to be the exact same color if you do it more than one time on one painting. So either you put more yellow ochre or you put more quinacridone coral, but it's never going to be the same twice. It's going to look close enough, but sometimes it's more yellowish and sometimes it's more pinky, and sometimes it can go even to the range of reds. And this is what I love about mixing these two colors, that it's really similar to the way your skin looks naturally. Like if you were to put next to each other the color of your face, the color of your forehead, the color of your chin, and then your hands, your arms, and even rest of the body, it's all going to be different shades of brown, peach, yellow, orange, pink. It's all going to be like a mixture of those colors. So what I'm doing right now is using these two colors. I'm going to paint the base of the hair and also making sure that on the top of the baby's head, like his or her forehead, is going to be darker because there is shade there from the mom's lip and chin. So the lighter areas are actually her nose and like the above portion of her face, like her temple area and stuff, and also his or her eyes. Using the mixture of the same two colors but more saturated, I'm going to paint the baby's cheek, the right side of her face, and this is how the shadow hits. And also the other thing is that usually babies' faces are pinkish or more reddish color naturally, so I'm just making sure to paint it a darker color than the rest of his or her face. And also putting some shadow on the side of the nose. It's the same exact thing that we did with the mom's nose. That the top of the nose is highlighted and the side is painted a darker, more saturated color of yellow ochre and quinacridone coral. And just using the tip of my brush, I'm going to just ever so slightly spread the color until I want it, and then cleaning up my brush using the same tip of my brush, I'm going to paint through the tip of the baby's nose or the top of his or her nose, so that just making sure that it's highlighted enough. And now I'm switching to painting the baby's hairs. I'm actually painting it with starting it out with the same color as her face, and it's because it's a newborn baby and most of her or his hair is very sparse, and it's there are larger areas that where the skin, when you can see the skin through. Sorry. Here I'm painting his or her eyelid and also painting through the nose, and I'm just making sure that there are highlights and shadows wherever I want them to be. So the lid is slowly fading into a shadowed area, just like on the mom's eye, but much smaller. And I kept the lips highlighted, but right now I have decided to darken it up also, because I don't want any focus on the lips or the chin area. I think we should focus more on the eyes and on the side of the or on the nose. And actually I also used the tip of the brush to make sure that it's all seamless, so it's not like there are dark colors on the side of the nose and on the side of the face and the rest is white, but I wanted to create a very nice, beautiful transition. And using more saturated green coral and yellow ochre, I'm just putting some dark down the bottom of the baby's face, right below his or her ear. And then I'm using raw umber to even further darken it up. And also using the same color, I'm going to darken the inner part of the ear because it's naturally darker. There are many shadows inside of our ears, but it's still the outer portion, but it's our ears. Using Van Dyke Brown, I'm going to use the tip of my brush. It's still the size 10 by Escoda Perla. And I'm going to start painting the sparse hair that this baby has. And what I need to make sure of is that I'm just very lightly using the tip of my brush, so don't put any pressure on it. It should be just the tip of the brush. And I'm going to paint all the way through where I can see baby hair, and also making sure that it goes all directions where it should go naturally, where you can see that the baby's hair is heading towards. Like it's not as easy as it first sounds. And now we can start focusing on wherever we want darker hair. So using more saturated Van Dyke Brown, I'm going to determine my shadowed areas. stay using only the tip of my brush and very slow and well, not slow but short movements because the baby has short hair. And as you can see, I'm constantly dipping my brush into Van Dyke Brown, also dipping my brush into water and also drying my hair, sorry, drying my brush constantly. So my brush would be damp but never wet because that's going to ruin my work. And I want to be able to see the line that I have just drawn. But since the paper is also damp, it's going to fade out a little bit. And it is my wish to do so. So just keep going until you are happy, as you can see me doing here. And so when I'm starting to go for the third time with even more saturated colors, it will give the effect of that this baby has some very soft hairs that are in some areas it's darker and in other areas it's softer and lighter, and this is how it should look naturally as well. But I'm sure that there are some people who can paint it more realistically, but I have never tried and never wanted to paint like hyper realistic stuff. So as far as hairs go, I'm pretty happy with it. Next, after I have cleaned my brush up, I'm going to paint the baby's hand. Using our own mixture of skin color, we are just going to paint the baby's hand with pretty much the same color, but it's not, it doesn't really matter. And then using just a little bit of raw umber, we are going to paint the baby's eyelid. The baby's eyebrow and put some shadow underneath the mom's lips as well. After it all dried down, we are going to put on our nice glove that protects our hand from smudging our painting, and using size 0 brush by Escoda, we are going to start outlining everything, every single part the of the areas that needs contouring. So let's start with the brows. I'm going to use raw amber for the brows. It is by Winsor Newton, and just using a soft hand I'm going to determine the direction of the brow hairs first, and then slowly adding more and more saturation, more and more colors to my eyebrows. And please don't forget that more often than not, natural hair goes towards the hair, I mean the temple area in the beginning, and when there is a slight change in direction, the hairs go upwards back towards the nose or towards the middle of the forehead or the middle of the face. So the actual direction of the brows change slightly with the change of the angle of the brow, if you know what I mean. So then I'm going to go in and paint the eyelid and the eyelashes, sorry. And what I don't want to do is just go in and contour this area. What I want to do instead is give it a little bit of transition as well, as just like I was doing before throughout this whole video, which means that our nice peachy color of skin will slowly turn into an eyelid color. So you can see me now smudging it all out, so that is not a sharp line but rather a transition. And after I'm satisfied with the left eye, which is a lot more obvious, I'm going to determine where the right eye is. I have already drawn in my sketch so I can see where the eyelashes are, and I'm just going to paint them so that it looks like she has two eyes rather than just having one. Next, I'm going to go and turn to the baby's eyebrows. That's the part that I like to do the most, because when I do the eyes and the eyebrows, the whole face has a meaning. And you can start to see like, oh, this is going somewhere. We are going to reach a point where it actually looks like a human face or so. I'm actually doing the same exact steps on the baby that I did on the mom, but it's on a smaller scale, so it's a little bit more difficult. Next, using the same color, we are going to contour the nose of mommy, and we are not going to paint it all the way through, just focusing mainly of the body, I don't know how to call this, the length of the nose and the tip of the nose. And then painting the rest of the nose, for which I have I do not know the English names, and just using the same colors, or sometimes even adding Van Dyke brown, which is a very dark brown, which is perfect for the really dark shadowed eye areas. But otherwise using the same raw umber and doing the same motion of transitioning between the peachy skin tone and the brown areas. And then doing the lips, which is the most difficult part for me on a human face. And for a while you will see that my painting kind of looks like mom is making a fishy face. And I didn't realize that until the very end of this tutorial, and then I quickly fixed it. Using Escoda Perla size 4 brush and quinacridone coral on its own, I'm going to paint the lips of mommy and then the baby. So the first thing that I'm doing is using a very diluted color. I'm going to paint the upper lip area, because when you look at photos or people in real life, you can see that the upper lip area is almost always the same one color, and it's the bottom lip that has some highlighted and shadowed areas. So when I see other artists painting lips, they always do the same kind of motion of not doing much highlights on the upper lip and keeping it mostly for the bottom lip area. And for the bottom lip, I'm going to go ahead and contour the edges of the bottom lip solely, and then slowly making the motion of painting little strokes and then keeping my highlights. So first of all, you need to determine where you want the highlights to be, and then just painting around it with quinacridone coral. And then we are going to go in with Van Dyke brown, which is going to be a lot of fun. But first, we are going to go in with more saturated quinacridone coral and just keep on working our way to make it more and more colorful and saturated. And I think this is the point where it kind of looks like she's making a fishy face. And it's because I didn't paint, like you can see the corner of her lip, and then there is nothing, and then there is a full bodied lip to the upper and to the bottom part of the lip as well. And it should be more transitional, more coming right from the corner and towards the fullness of the lip. And that's why she looks like she has a fishy face. And then doing the baby's lip, which is very beautiful but very soft. There is not much place for highlights or shadows, so I'm just going to determine how I want the lips to look like, and then just coloring it very slightly, because babies doesn't have such a colorful lip just yet. It's very beautiful and the shape is so very nice, and babies, especially toddlers, when they smile, it's very cheeky, it's very like, it looks like an elf. They look like elves, but as of now, when they are newborns, there is not much color going on yet. And now darkening the inner part of the ear, of the baby's ear, with Van Dyke Brown. And switching back to size 0 by Escoda Perla. I'm going to continue contouring the baby's face, his or her nose, and the other parts that are not fully done yet. Here you can see that I went in with a lot of color, so I'm trying to make it right by adding more and more water and dilute it, and also lifting up some of this brown color so that it's a nice transition. When I'm happy with that, I'm going to continue with the baby's ear, contouring the outer area so that it's visible, because right now it blends in with the baby's hair and face, so you cannot really see that where his or her ear begins. And as I continue to contour the baby's face, I realized that her or his neck area is still too light. I previously painted it with raw umber, if you remember, and so now I'm going to go in with Van Dyke Brown, which is the darkest brown that I own, and color it with that color, hoping that it's going to be perfect now. And I don't know if I mentioned this enough, but the key to painting anything, I believe, is to reuse the colors that you used before. For example, we used the raw umber on mom's hair, mom's face, the baby's face and the baby's hair, and even the baby's clothes. So by using it in so many smaller areas of the painting itself looks more harmonious. And I'm just going to continue contouring while I talk to you. So whenever you start a painting, you should always determine the colors and then think about ways to implement the same colors in different ways and in different intensity. For example, the mom's hair has a diluted raw umber, while the mom's eyelid and eyebrows and the contoured chin and nose, it all has a more saturated version of them. The next step I'm doing is contouring the baby's hand and especially the fingers. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, there is no rhyme or reason why I do it in this order. It's totally up to you. However you want to do it is fine, but I'm just showing you my process. As at least the contouring part, because as I said before, in the first portion of this tutorial, I have a lot of reasons why I go in the order that I did with painting wet on wet. That is more important to keep the order of things. Well, you can switch it up and do it however you like it. But I have a lot of reasons for that, while I don't have a lot of reasons in the order of going in with contouring and making sure that it's all seamless and even visible. So right now I'm contouring the jumper of the baby, and for that I'm using Van Dyke Brown, which is a lot darker than raw umber, but I kind of love the contrast between the yellowish brownish colors and the Van Dyke brown, while I'm keeping the clothes, the faces softly highlighted and shadowed. And for the next half portion of this video, we are going to paint leaves all over the mom's dress, the baby's dress, and in the background. So I don't have a lot to say about that. There are no, like I pre-sketched it and then I drew the lines in accordance with what I saw. And I used two different colors. One was deep forest green and the other was phthalo blue. And I switched up these two colors, mixed them, and so the leaves have various shades from blue to green. And so now I'm just going to stop talking and just paint. So if you would like, for the next half an hour, you are free to put on some music. There is not going to be much talking. So it's just going to be 15 minutes and then we get back to painting. Bye. ready with the greenery. We are going to still darken up the part underneath the baby's face, so the neck area, because that's going to be a lot darker than it is right now. And then we are going to give a bit of a shadow underneath the mom's chin as well, because naturally it's going to be a shadowed area as well. Here I'm quickly shadowing the hand of the baby where it meets the lip of the baby. And then using a saturated Van Dyke brown, I'm going to contour the lip area of the mom. So the darkest bit should be where the two lip meets, and then it slowly fades out into the coral shadow. And of course the baby's hair needs some more shadowing as well, where it meets mom and wherever I see that it's darker. And I'm just going to darken up Mom's eyelid as well. And the baby's lip, nose and eye as well. Doing some more ear contouring. So I'm just basically going on with the same areas that I did before, but with a darker color, so it's more contrasty and it's going to be a seamless transition from the peachy color to the raw amber and then to the Van Dyke brown. And then when I'm satisfied, it's going to be a completed painting. Thank you for watching, and please leave a comment. Please send me your version, your painted final version, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.